Hi, Scott here. Hope you're well. Happy Friday. So yesterday we had some very interesting market moves, a few news events. Primarily it was the Swiss franc and the Japanese yen. Had some huge moves during the day, which makes life a bit difficult sometimes unless you have strategies that follow those big moves, but the ones I use don't. I like nice organized markets that have structures to them so that we can predict more accurately where market movements are going to go. So let's jump into some charts. Right, turn my video off. Distract you. Oh, that didn't work. Okay. So let's have a look, starting with Aussie Swiss. So you see this, all the Swiss and all the yens had some really big moves, massive swings yesterday. But something is setting up for today, potentially. So when we had the Swiss news, which wasn't really news, actually I'll just share this with you as well. Forex Factory, they have a free calendar on here, which is really good. You set up to your time zone and you can choose what sort of news events you want to look at, whether it's the red flag, which are the most important and likely to move the market, orange flag, which is not so important, and yellow flag, which is more for information. And you can set it up to how you want, and then you can just go through it and just keep an eye on what the news coming up is. So yesterday, we had the Swiss, and the news was nothing, basically. The interest rate went up to 0.5% as forecast. But it had a huge effect on the market, huge swings. And the Japanese yen, they did actually release some core CPI figures, which was come out of the blue. And that's a yellow flag. That really should be orange or red. All CPI figures do tend to move the market. But again, expecting 1.9, got 1.9, nothing expected there. And the policy rate stayed the same. Maybe they said something. I don't know, which is why I'm not too bothered about following the fundamentals, because they can lead you astray, right? As fundamentals meant nothing should change much, but the market's made huge moves. So back to Aussie Swiss. But there's huge movement in the Swiss here. The Swiss got really weak. And if you go to pullback to the 382, which is about where the 1 hour 50 is, this is the red line. It needs to break this blue line, which is the 4 hour 50 to get there. When it does, that could spring load, get a nice bit of accumulation here, and then fire up to the daily 50. So I like that as a potential. The only things that might stall it are the daily 20, which is red line here, and going back through the 4 hour 50 there. But first it needs to pull back and then load up, and then hopefully get a long position out of that one. I should show the higher time frames first. I didn't I before? So there we go. So we've had this major level here, which has been messing around with for a week or so, break down below it, and then this huge spike up. So let's go to the next one, Aussie yen. So again, the yen moved as well, very strongly after lots of movement in different directions. So looking for a down day here, what we've had is a topping process going on. We've had the weekly has very strong MACD divergence. We've got lower highs on the MACD. It's very overbought still up in the top zone for the RSI. And we're getting higher highs on the price action. So that's the MACD divergence. If we go to the daily, we're getting a similar kind of thing. MACD divergence from this peak to this peak. So implying lower prices. And we've finally got a break through this daily 50. Is that a really strong break of the daily 50, or is it like to reverse here? That's a good question, and we'll have to wait and see. Look at the lower time frames price action to get some kind of idea. And this trend line in here, which has been respected quite a lot recently, it's broken down below it. And if it pulls back to the daily 50, we could well have a short trade on here. Now looking at Elliott wave, from this pullback here, we've got wave, what have we got? Bit of a mess really. Maybe wave 1, wave 2, this is the big wave 3, wave 4 pullback, complex pullback maybe, and a wave 5. So that's a possible one-to-one play there called a pip snatcher. Inching around the pivot, and that trend line may prove some kind of resistance to help the price action move down in our favour. Got the 4-hour 50 before our stop. We've got our daily 20 before our stop and the daily 50 before our stop. So lots of things in our favour for that trade. So that's pretty good, interesting one. Right, next one, we're going to Euro Swiss. Euro Swiss is not really an Asia session pair. So we've had this big reversal yesterday with massive wick because of the Swiss news. It's pulled back. On the hourly here, we see it pulling back through the 4-hour 50 to the 1-hour 50. The fib 382 lines up with basically where the 4-hour 50 is. We've already broken that. And now if we get some accumulation here, we can see it going long. But as I said, this isn't an Asian pair. We're now at 9:30 in the morning for me. So it's, Asian market is just kind of starting off now. We've got another 6 hours before the UK volume comes in. So I don't expect this to do much in the next 6 hours. If it hangs around here, maybe it'll load up and take it long, or maybe it won't. So I'm going to play that one from here. I'm going to wait for the volume to come in on the UK Open. Look at the volume quickly. So the volume here, this is the normal, the blue dotted line across here is the average. And you see it peaks up in the UK sessions and goes right down low during the Asia sessions. So in the Asia session now, so it's very low volume. I'm not going to be looking at taking that trade until UK Open at the earliest. Pound Swiss, very similar. We've got this low test, or low price action all the way down, big downtrend, big reversal candle on that Swiss news. So we need we've got a breakthrough here for this massive trend line. We've gone forever. We've now got a very strong break of the 1-hour 50 and 4-hour 50. It's come back to the 1-hour 50. But again, it's the wrong time of day to be entering a trade here. I suggest I'm going to wait till UK Open in about 6 hours. What else we got? Another news affected pair, pound yen. We've had this topping action here for the last few weeks. We've had it hit this major level up here, which is rejected. It broke down through the daily 50, retested, and now it's making a break lower. So that's suggesting that the downward momentum will continue today. We've got plenty of room for the 1.272 extension on the wave 3, wave 1, wave 2 pullback, and this is wave 3. Plenty of room to the downside, but not that much that we can go for a hybrid trade, but there's definitely room for a pip snatcher, one-to-one, quick one-to-one trade. 1-hour 50 is catching up. If this pulls back in the next few hours to the pivot, good place to enter. We'll have a quick one-to-one trade. Right, Kiwi Swiss. Again, news affected. Swiss had a big reversal there. It's not quite come down to this really major level. Of course, maybe it won't. There's not been much price action down this low, so we don't really have much to go on. This could be the reversal we've been looking for. Trend lines, pretty much been respected, and now we've got this massive breakthrough. Break out here, break through the 1-hour 50, up to the 4-hour 50, pulling back to the 1-hour 50. Kiwi Swiss, Kiwi being Asia currency, then this is Asia trade for the Asia session, so this could be an entry coming up soon. 1-hour 50 lines up very well with a 382 pullback. The fib taken from the lows to the highs, and that could be a nice little trade. I'd expect it maybe to pull back to the pivot as well and then load up. Are we getting any volume here? It's a bit early in the day to really know. No, volume's basically not there, so need some volume to come in, which may be starting in 20 minutes, 10 a.m. Locally, and that can get the Aussies fired up and some volume coming in. That's Kiwi Swiss. Another one, a purely Asian pair, Kiwi Yen. What do we have here? Again, we've got this topping action, we've got this big breakdown. Basically hasn't even pulled back at all yet, broken straight down, and this momentum will probably continue to the short side. Are we getting any kind of levels here? There could be a level just there. Yes, no, it's not. It's been in a kind of range for a while. It's towards the bottom of that range, so that's something to be aware of. We'll see what the lower time frames give us. Okay, so from here we have that big news event spike down, maybe a complex pullback, and then a quick pip snatch, a one-to-one trade down to the lows. That's something that may set up not too distant future. We'll see on that one. The last one that's looking like it might happen sometime soon, but it's not. I've got the wrong colour on that one. That should really go to blue. Right, dollar CAD will show you what it looks like. Big run up, really monster run up here, decelerating to this doji-ish, but still slightly bullish. So you've got to be careful. You need to have confirmed trend change before we jump on anything short. But it definitely seems to be decelerating at this major level. If we look on the monthly, we can see this level being respected up here. And yes, that's quite a major level, but we need some confirmation on the lower time frames. On here we have 1 hour, we have a lower high. Not really convincing at this stage. We need to see it break this trend line, break the 1 hour 50, and go down below, retest the 1 hour 50, and then trade it short. So that's something that may happen later today. Euro Kiwi, this is something that's in the process of setting up. Again, we've got a good topping action there. Double top with this, which has no MACD on there actually. MACD to this point here, but not from this one. So a little bit wary of that. We've had this big pullback in the meantime. So it must be getting pretty overbought. RSI, yeah, RSI is showing it's very overbought. It's up in the red, or was on this candle yesterday. So we're looking for some sort of short action. We've got a reversal candle day before yesterday and a high test yesterday, so indicating that we're doing some kind of trend change here. We go to the lower time frames. We have this trend line, which looks pretty good, been respected until just a couple of hours ago on low volume. Start of the day, so it doesn't really count for much. And it's been respected again. So we need this to break down, the usual kind of thing. Break down from here. Retest the 1 hour 50, and therefore that trend line will be well and truly broken, and we can trade that short, either to the 4 hour 50 or trade it much lower to the daily 20. So that could be an interesting one coming up sometime soon. I'll quickly go through the other ones, which may be setting up today. Today's Friday. We like to have quick in and outs on Friday so that we don't hold over the weekend. Well, I do. Sometimes I hold over the weekend. It's not a big deal for me, but it depends what your strategy is. So this one here, we've got deceleration at this line. Slightly bullish day yesterday, but I'm still looking to go short. Let's see what the lower time frames are telling us. Trend line being respected, so again, we want to see a break of that trend line, break of the 1 hour 50, pull back, set up for trade. KGN. Okay, another yen pair that's broken below the daily 50. Is that conclusive or not? Well, the yen's looking, since that statement yesterday, the yen is looking very strong. Finally getting some strength, so maybe we'll have some bearish action in the CAD yen and other yen pairs. So we have the if you get a pullback to the pivot, daily 50, 1 hour 50, daily 20, and maybe even the 4 hour 50, all as protection for our stop. So that could be a nice quick one-to-one trade there later today. Euro pound, one for later on, being a non-Asian pair. We've had this topping process going on here, big deceleration, kind of indecision day yesterday. Maybe today's the chance for it to break down. I'm waiting. This is what I'm doing yesterday. So this is waiting for it to break down below this 4 hour 50. Do a retest. So 4 hour 50 and then trade it short. So maybe that happens sometime, either today or Monday. Pound dollar. Another very bearish trend. Is it finally starting to reverse? We're at all-time lows, it looks like, on the monthly. So there's not much to be given in the way of support. So lower time frames will have to be pretty conclusive. What do we have? Not much at the moment, but if we do get a break, 1 hour 50 has been holding very strong. If you get a nice break of that and a pullback, that could be a long trade for probably be Monday. We've got some big dollar news as well. What was that? Tonight we've got unemployment claims. Okay, so it's not that big, but something to be aware of. So yeah, Kiwi USD. So if we get a look at the lower time frames first. So we've got a doji candle, maybe some kind of reversal happening here, and we've got some proof of that. So we've got these two trend lines. The lower one has been broken substantially. Test the upper one, come back down, test the lower one. Now we want to break the upper one, break this trend line. I'll try and retest this. I'll try and retest this trend line. If it does come back, it'll have broken the 1 hour 50, so that could be a nice trade long. A few others down here you can look at your leisure if you're interested. Okay, and that's it. Oops, turn the camera on. That's it. Okay, I hope you found some use out of that, looking at how we look at the higher time frames and the lower time frames to give us an indication of where we think the market's going to go, and the things we look at, like breaker trend lines and breaker 1 hour 50s and 4 hour 50s, to have confirmation that the trend has changed and is going to go in our favor. And that gives us the edge that we need to make money in the markets. So good. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you have a good day today and a great weekend. I will catch up with you on Monday. I'll speak to you soon. See you.